My computer crashed earlier on, so I'm now on my iPad, and I hope it doesn't crash. But just a quick hello from Peter.
Hi guys, hi guys.
Peter's not long out of hospital, so when our 4 children were little, our holidays were spent in our home from home, a caravan. For 10 years, we toured around Ireland, Britain, and best of all, France. The French had the best campsites by far. Playgrounds for the children, swimming pools for all the family, clean and well-landscaped sites, and often bars and bistros for the mums and dads. Our caravan slept 6 and was quite modern. It even had a toilet and a shower. And indeed, as a surprise for my wife, when she was 6 months pregnant, I bought her a portaloo, the best present she said I ever bought her. It was our home from home. Indeed, when I surveyed its contents, each time that we left Belfast, I often wondered if anything was left in the Belfast house. Toys, bicycles, books, dolls, teddies, suitcases, pots, pans, waterproofs, all piled high inside the caravan, just as untidily as it would be in the house in Belfast. We have wonderful memories of those 10 years, the beautiful places we visited, the people we met, the gorgeous variety of food sampled, and the wonderful wine we grew to adore. Of course, our trips were never dull or free from drama. This was, after all, the Livingstone family on tour. Something was always bound to go wrong, though rarely through any fault of my own part, as you, I'm sure, appreciate. One of the first learning points for me was the caravanner's code. It took a few years for me to learn it thoroughly, but it soon became invaluable, especially for generating entertainment. The first time I pitched camp with the caravan was in Donegal. I fumbled around for what seemed like hours, and of course it was raining, and trying to maneuver and secure the beast to its allocated space, set up the awning, connect the water, the electricity, the gas, but there never seemed to be anyone offering help, especially to an obvious novice like me. It was in a bar on a French campsite a few years later that I was introduced to the secrets of the caravanner's code. A chap from England it was who explained certain key rules. Firstly, when on a busy single carriage road where opportunities for overtaking are few and far between, the caravanner must always maintain the right speed, not too slow, not too fast, but enough to create the longest possible queue of traffic behind for the longest possible time. A record of such achievements is kept in a little book and only shared over drinks with fellow caravanners later on with much laughter and pride. The second rule is equally important. On spotting an obvious novice arrive on site, you sit back, relax in your caravan with a coffee or beer, and enjoy the entertainment as the unfortunate novice catches his hand on the hitch of the caravan, connects the awning the wrong way round, has to dismantle and start over again, searches in vain for that special spanner that fixes everything, or struggles to get the water system connected, soaking himself in the process. Just when this unfortunate is nearly over his nightmare, then you jump up and run across to offer assistance. This will always be deeply welcomed, even though there's actually nothing left to do. And you can then be guaranteed help when you need it later, perhaps pushing their caravan across muddy ground. One year in Donegal, I applied the code to the full. We had been there a few days in glorious weather, i.e. it only rained every other day, when a Volkswagen van pulled up beside us. I was having my coffee and reading the paper and was amazed to see 5 adults and 5 children literally fall out of the small van. Then I watched in amazement as the 2 men in the group unloaded large canvas bags and poles, and while the 3 ladies and 5 children marched up to the camp shop, the 2 guys started to erect awnings on either side of the van. I could hear them grunting and groaning in their efforts. In accordance with the code, of course, I waited, and just in time went out to offer help. They smiled and thanked me for my kindness, but were nearly finished. I remarked to my wife that they spent an hour setting up. I compared it to our caravan, which could usually be sorted in 20 minutes. Single-handedly, I pronounced proudly. That evening, after eating, we sat down to play Monopoly. We had so many board games in the caravan, there was usually a major row after tea as to what game was to be played that night. Interestingly, we never played board games in our Belfast home, but in our caravan with no television, it was the main entertainment for evenings. And of course, being Livingstones, the game was played with loud enthusiasm. Everyone argued with everyone else, but it was never rancorous, just good-natured shouting. And eventually, when I had won, which was the only determinant, we would all fall into bed around midnight. The next morning after breakfast, I was enjoying my second cup of coffee. Oh my God, Paula, will you look at that? Those ones next door are leaving already. For the next hour, I watched in horror as they dismantled the awning and packed away everything into the van. And to think they'll probably do the same again in a few hours on another site. Aren't you glad we've got our caravan and not that sort of carry-on? Paula lifted her head from her book and mumbled, "Yes, love." One of the men climbed into the driver's seat of the van and started the engine. "There they go, the poor sods," I said as I waved bye-bye to our neighbours through the window. Put, 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 put went the Volkswagen up the hill towards the exit. I expected the rest would climb aboard soon. Then, dumbfounded, I watched as the van turned onto the grass to another pitch, stopped, and the other man joined the driver, and they began erecting the two awnings once again either side of the van. Paula and I looked at each other, both of us blushing. Oh, Jesus, they moved because of us. Drama never seemed to be far away from us in our home from home, wherever we went. On a caravan site in the Loire Valley in France, I had spent a very pleasurable few days researching our next stop on our grand tour. We tried every year to cover a different region of France. I was attracted to the Vendée region in the southwest, and had picked up a few sites near a town called Hurtan. It was 250 miles away, so it meant a 6-hour drive in hot weather, a major challenge, especially keeping the kids entertained that long in the car. The journey was uneventful, and by the time we were a few miles from Hurtan, I turned and noticed that Paul and the kids were all fast asleep. What I would call perfect driving conditions. I knew we must be close to the site, but not having a sat-nav in those days, I had to rely on my map reading skills. Then I saw a gaily decorated sign by the roadside. As we drew close, I could see the name was Le Paramik, not our site, which I had rung ahead the night before and reserved a place. I then just caught a glimpse of some words below the site name. As it flashed by, it said, "Au naturel." I was perplexed. I had never seen that before. I wondered what it might mean. Then I saw another sign approaching. This was La Majestique. As I got closer again, I saw the words, "Au naturel." Now I was really intrigued. 2 more caravan sites passed by, and they too had the words, "Au naturel." And then suddenly, while my family slept beside me, I remembered a phrase from a distant French O-level class at school. Jesus Christ, it means naked. For feck's sake, I brought my wife and we girls to a nudist colony. I am dead. The sweat poured down my brow and my armpits. My heart pounded as finally we reached our site, Camping de la Côte d'Argent. I couldn't see all of the sign, it was obscured by a tree. Paul and the girls stirred. I feverishly scanned the reception area and the caravans that were visible. Everybody was wearing clothes. I was saved. I discovered later that I had inadvertently selected from my Michelin guide the only non-nudist campsite in the area. I realized with a sigh how I so nearly could have lost wife, family, and any home from home.
Oh, Jim, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That, do you know, that is the sort of thing Padraig would book us into, something au naturel. Think it was look at this.
Oh yes, that's the master at his caravan, and that's the master's assistant, Peter, with his sexy sunglasses.
Look at those socks and sandals.
Look at those legs. Look at those legs.
And let's see the other fella. Go on. Look at those. Look how cute.
Yeah, everybody fell in love with him with those glasses.
Sure, how could you not? That's fantastic. Where is Peter? Where is he? Is he with
back.
I'm here.
Hello, Peter.
Hello.
I believe you are just out of the hospital quite recently.
I am, yes, yes.
Let's hope you'll not be visiting there for quite another while.
No, we hope so. I hope so, yes.
13 operations since December. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, you're doing brilliantly. Thank you for joining us. And we
They
love
say
you.
his head looks like a map of Donegal.
Well, you haven't lost your humour, Peter. That's all.
Thanks, Paul.
I have to say, Paula, you deserve a medal.
I know. I tell him that all the time.